Hi, oh my God, it's Monday. It's another week. It's past Thanksgiving Day weekend. Hopefully had a great Thanksgiving weekend. Had a great time yesterday in Green Lake with some friends, Josh Castle and Ben Dolko, celebrating President-elect Joe Biden's victory. They did a lot of canvassing. They actually went down to Arizona for like 8 days in October to help actually turn Arizona blue. So we had a great celebration in Green Lake. It was a beautiful day today. Everyone, obviously, hope you enjoyed it. Let's get started. Another week. God, it's going to be December tomorrow. Here's the forecast. Oh my God, is this Seattle? Oh my God, I'm just like shocked. I'm looking at this. There's no rain in the next week. Look at that. Okay, this is crazy. Enjoy the great week, guys, in Seattle. Oh my God, it's sunny! Yay! I think I'll go for a couple bike rides this week. Here's an interesting story. Iran's top nuclear scientist was probably killed in an attack. It was an assassination. And we know our friends in Israel, Mossad, who's their hit squad, their CIA, whatever, did it. They're never going to obviously admit to doing it, but this particular scientist was actually vacationing in a very posh area. It's in a suburb of Tehran, and they actually first did you'll hear the story. I won't explain it. So here is an interesting story about what happened to the assassination of Iran's top nuclear scientist by PBS NewsHour.
Iran's most prominent scientist, the man described by U.S. and Israeli intelligence as the architect of that country's covert nuclear weapons program, was killed in an apparent assassination today. Nick Schifrin reports on who he was and why his death is so significant.
Iranian media report that Mohsen Fakhrizadeh was driving east of the capital Tehran when a car bomb exploded near his car and gunmen shot and killed him. Analysts say he was the J. Robert Oppenheimer of Iran's nuclear program, its lead scientist, coordinator, and manager. Western intelligence assessed the program was shelved in 2003, but in 2018, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu unveiled a stolen archive of Iran's pre-2003 nuclear plans and said Fakhrizadeh was responsible for continuing the program secretly.
A key part of the plan was to form new organizations to continue the work. This is how Dr. Mohsen Fakhrizadeh, head of Project Ahmad, put it. Remember that name, Fakhrizadeh.
Nobody has taken responsibility for his killing, but today Iranian officials blamed Israel. To discuss this, I'm joined by Norman Rule, who had a 34-year career at CIA, including a station chief in the Middle East, and was the national intelligence manager for Iran until September 2017. Norman Rule, welcome to the NewsHour. What's the significance of his killing, and what's the impact on Iran's nuclear program?
Good evening. The killing of the 59-year-old Iranian official removes from Iran its greatest institutional memory on its weaponization program. It will be very difficult for Iran to replace this, and it will actually impair their ability to reestablish a weaponization program should they decide to do so.
What's the message being sent by whoever killed him? And not only today, but the recent death of a top al-Qaeda figure reported in Tehran and mysterious explosions throughout Iran, including at one of Iran's top nuclear facilities.
These incidents, as well as the killing of IRGC Quds Force General Qasem Soleimani earlier this year, message to the Iranians that their most sensitive individuals, personnel, and issues are not beyond the reach of Western security services. Ideally, it would tell Iranian officials that they should not undertake a covert nuclear program or terrorist activities or maintain a broader relationship with al-Qaeda, because doing so would quickly come to the attention of Western institutions, intelligence organizations, and Western governments would take immediate action, which Iran cannot prevent.
Critics of these kinds of killings have an argument that they don't stop Iran's nuclear program. In fact, they can create an incentive for Iran to pursue a nuclear program, and that assassinations might create short-term successes, but can have long-term negative consequences. What do you think about those criticisms?
I think it is questionable as to whether or not his assassination will encourage Iran to undertake a nuclear weaponization program. I think in Tehran right now, anyone they might put in his place is probably wondering at what point he or she would fall under the focus of Western institutions who might undertake a similar assassination.
President-elect Biden and his team say they want to re-enter the Iran nuclear deal. What do you make of the timing of this attack just 54 days before inauguration?
A couple of points. First, an attack of this nature would have taken a lot of time to plan. So this isn't something that would have initiated in the recent few weeks. At the same time, I think it sends a message to the Iranians that regional players will take security into their own hands if they believe the U.S. is unable or unwilling to do so.
And so, therefore, does this have an impact, do you believe, on President-elect Biden's plans to return to the Iran nuclear deal?
For the Iranians, the primary impetus to return to a nuclear deal is their need for financial relief, particularly they need to bolster their reserves to maintain their currency and the health of their banking institutions. I think for the Biden administration, looking at this deal, they're going to have to respect the security concerns of regional actors to a greater extent to avoid other incidents such as this upsetting nuclear negotiations.
You mentioned Iran's main goals. Given those goals, how likely is it that Iran responds in a major way?
There is certainly going to be a heated discussion with Iran regarding a response. There will be some who thought the response to the death of Qasem Soleimani was insufficient. And then, of course, you've had the reports of explosions, the death of a senior al-Qaeda official, and now this. Iran will need to reestablish deterrence. Iran will need to show national pride has been protected. At the same time, they won't want to undertake an action that risks a conventional war or upsets the prospect of the financial relief that would come from a return to the nuclear deal. So Iran is going to have to decide exactly what they do that walks a very fine line.
Norman Rule, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
The Israelis did it. There's no question about it. That's a good thing, I believe. Oh my God, we're obviously having the worst time with the epidemic right now with COVID. High rates, testing rates. We have high hospitalization rates. This is putting a huge strains on our healthcare professionals and obviously doctors, including nurses. So here's a good story on what that's doing to our nation's nurses.
There are now more than 90,000 people hospitalized in the country with COVID-related illness, the highest number since the pandemic began. Hospital ICUs are nearly filled in some places. The U.S. currently averages more than 1,500 deaths a day, a number that could rise once reporting resumes after this holiday weekend. All of this is putting enormous strain on healthcare workers, including nurses. Here with more on that now is Bonnie Castillo. She's the executive director of the National Nurses United Group. That's the country's largest nurses union, representing 170,000 registered nurses. Bonnie Castillo, welcome to the NewsHour. As we've seen, cases are surging across the country. When you look at the graphs, they are astounding. You see the number of new record daily high infections growing. You see, when you look at the map across the country, that no corner of the nation is untouched. The darker the shading on this map, the worse the surge is. So, Bonnie, when you look at your nurses on the front line of this, what do they not have right now that they need to do their jobs and to do them safely?
They still are lacking adequate protections. And when I say protections, I mean a comprehensive national plan of protections that include the PPE, personal protective equipment, adequate numbers of staffing, and even measures such as simple isolation testing. We are going without, and we've been 9 months into this and have had enough time to prepare. We know what we need, but we still don't have it.
I think this will surprise a lot of people that all these many months later, after all the calls for additional PPE and that protective gear, nurses still don't have it. And we put this question to the American Hospital Association, which represents about 5,000 hospitals and healthcare systems. They share your concerns. They say they have serious concerns about the availability of PPE. And they also said, in reference to the Trump administration's efforts, that they appreciate those efforts, but that the demand continues to outpace production. So, Bonnie, at this point, how do nurses get what they need? What could be done today or this week to get them the supplies that they need?
Well, we need both the hospitals to be mandated to provide nurses adequate protections, because we actually know that we're still dealing with having PPE locked away from nurses when they need it currently at the bedside. And so, but we also need a national plan. We need We've called for the Trump administration to fully invoke the Defense Production Act, and we need that now. Now, obviously, we are working with President-elect Biden, and we hope that we will have that in place soon. As I said, we need it now, though. Literally, what we are seeing is unprecedented amounts of hospitalizations and deaths. And we're seeing that the employers clearly are not prepared for this, and they've had more than enough time to prepare.
Bonnie, when you say that that stuff is locked away and not making its way to the nurses, what does that mean? I think people will have a hard time understanding. Are you saying it's there and just not getting to the front lines where it's needed?
So, for instance, what we have heard is reports of PPE coming in, and yet nurses are given one N95 mask for an entire shift. These masks are designed for single use only. And we still are hearing reports of hospitals expecting nurses not only to wear it for one whole shift, but oftentimes for multiple shifts for weeks. This is going to result in infections of the healthcare workforce. And when we're infected, then we're not there to care for all these patients that are coming in.
Bonnie, what about things like regular access to testing, contact tracing, early exposure or notification rather, of any kind of exposure? We see professional athletes, college athletes even, getting access to those kinds of things. Do nurses have easy access to those?
No, they don't. And when you think about it, we're coming into direct contact with the COVID patients. They need our expertise, and yet we are not given testing. So we've had nurses who have been caring for patients since February, March, and who still have not been tested. This is one of our central demands, is that in order for us to be safe and for our patients to be safe, we need to know if we are infected. So as I said, we're fighting state by state, but we really need a national plan. We need leadership that is going to take a national approach. You can't just have one state enact masking orders, staying in place, social distancing, and yet have other states completely flout that and not have an impact from that on all of us.
We are so grateful for the work that all these frontline nurses and all the frontline healthcare workers are doing every day. That is Bonnie Castillo, the Executive Director of National Nurses United. Thanks for being with us.
The frontline workers, it's a crisis right now. And unfortunately, our current president is not doing anything, which is tragic and actually it's criminal. Thank God we have President-elect Joe Biden coming out on January 20th. But we still have a month and a half before he's in office. Hey, the Washington Huskies were down 21-0 at halftime and came back to beat the Utah Utes. So here's a quick recap of that comeback victory.
Tonight, Washington hosts Utah, where the Utes are hoping that Kyle Whittingham and company can work a little Mont Lake magic, just like last year when they came in here and grabbed a win. It's the Pac-12 in primetime in the Emerald City.
to set the Huskies up.
Quick to the line. They'll run it right up the gut. And it's a touchdown, Washington. Play action to McGrew. Morris, Otten, touchdown. Morris looking that way. Scrambling. Fires, caught, Otten, touchdown, Washington. And there is the final snap. And the Washington Huskies, a huge comeback win over Utah, 24-21 the final.
What a great, the Huskies are 3-0. So hopefully they'll be ranked next week. Okay, the gay games are going to be in Hong Kong in November of 2022. I highly encourage you, all you LGBTQ folks that are watching this broadcast, to go. It is an amazing experience. I've been to 2 gay games. I went to the gay games in 2010 to Cologne, Germany with our team, the Seattle Grunge. And we played, and there's different divisions for every sport. So we played in like, I think the C division for like over a certain age. But we won a bronze medal. But the experience of the thing about it, this is not like the Olympics where you have to qualify, right? This is like you register and you're in. No qualification doesn't. No, the qualification is that you have to register at the amount of money to pay for the registration. But it's amazing. You walk into the stadium with the U.S. contingent, and it's just, you feel like an Olympian. You do. You really feel like an Olympian. So I highly recommend that you do this. They have 36 sports, everything from, basketball, soccer, to 5, 10K running sports. They have the traditional sports of, track and field, but also they have like very non-Olympic sports like darts. They have bowling. So you can basically do it. You can find whatever sport you can participate in. Okay. And again, you don't have to qualify. You just register. And what amazing city of Hong Kong, right? You gotta go to Hong Kong. Let's go ahead and look at their website. So here's the Gay Games website. Looking good. You should definitely, when you go to the site, you should definitely sign up for the latest updates. You'll be on their email list. The games, welcome to Hong Kong, the program, and definitely all the sports. So again, like I said before, there are so many sports involved. See, here we go. There's swimming. That's the other thing. Swimming. There's road races, full and half marathons, 5K, 10K. There's, again, basketball, wheelchair basketball, dodgeball, soccer, rugby, volleyball. You see there is cheerleading, dance sports, esports, figure skating. Oh my God, golf, martial arts, dragon boat racing. So definitely, I would highly recommend that you definitely participate and come. And actually, I'm working with my friend AJ, who is owner of Catalyst Travel. We're going to put together packages for you to fly to Hong Kong, and we'll look at different options of hotels, Airbnb, VRBO, whatever, to stay in Hong Kong. So hope I'll give you updates as we put together our packages to, I know it's 2022. Well, actually, we're almost at 2021, so it'll be basically a year. As of January 1st, will be a year and 10 months away. Okay, I want to highlight a couple of series that I think are fantastic on HBO Max. The Flight Attendant. Oh my God. The Flight Attendant is very, very, very crazy. It's good. It's very, very good. The things that she does, you go, why is she doing that? Why is she doing that? But I'll let the trailer speak for itself. And the other one that I'm in the process of watching is The Undoing. Excellent acting by Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant. And I will just let the trailer speak for itself on both of these.
so much for flying with us.
Can't you see?
I met Alex on the plane.
Hi.
Hey. We had dinner in Bangkok. We went back to his hotel.
There's no escape. I can't away. The dangerous. I'm loving it.
When I woke up in the morning, he was so alive.
I think they know you're lying.
The whole night, it just flickers. I can't remember anything about it.
Yes, I'm your best friend, so I have to ask. Why'd you clean it up?
I don't know.
Okay, just can't stop thinking how that guy in 3C died.
The flight attendant, she knows more than she's saying.
The FBI wanted information about you.
I'm gonna keep digging. Do not do anything stupid.
Did you bring me to 3C's funeral?
You weren't a suspect before, you sure as hell are now.
How many drinks have you had today?
I'm a crazy drunk flight attendant, not a killer. Get me involved with. I feel like I'm losing my mind.
How do you think you're getting away with any of this?
Oh, God.
Hey.
Hey.
Just one moment of your time. One moment.
It's what rich, entitled people do when threatened. They conceal the ugly truths to protect themselves. And they think they can get away with it.
Highly recommend you guys get HBO Max. It's worth it. You can split it with friends. Like you're gonna have like five accounts, 5 people you can add onto your accounts and split the cost. It's worth it. I mean, the flight attendant was amazing. I'm right in the middle of watching and doing, and it's amazing. So that's all I'll say. So the last thing I'll do is I'll promote my annual, because again, normally I have a holiday party, but unfortunately won't have. I usually would have been this Saturday, but unfortunately we can't do it because of COVID. So I'm hoping a virtual holiday party. And as I have in the past, I want you to donate or buy gifts online for foster kids. I have Generate, great. So on this link, as you can see in the email, you can either donate money or you can go to the Amazon wish list. They have a wish list for kids, foster kids. So if you can do that, that'd be great. We really would appreciate your support. So hopefully you have a great day. Kick off the week. It's Monday, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.